Hey guys, Dave here. So I'm sitting here in my house and I read a lot of news. So I want to break down something. We all know that everything, inflation has been going crazy and stuff, but I want to tell you what inflation really is and what the plan is. So see, rich people, they don't want anybody else to be rich because in order for society to work properly, you got to keep the class divide. So inflation is a game they play to keep you and me poor. Because capitalism is a game of cards. And it's more like gambling than anything else. Because for capitalism to work, companies have to keep making profit and people have to keep spending. But the problem is when people have too much discretionary income and they spend too much, that causes prices to go up. And when prices go too high, you get inflation. Now, people will say it's because the Fed printed too much money. And that's a part of it, but that money went into the populace's pockets. So printing that money made us more rich. Like one example is the extended child care credit actually took children out of poverty. But since that has gone away, more kids have fallen into poverty. So inflation is a way to keep the class divide. Because when the masses get too much money, the rich people, they don't like that. So that's why they want to keep wages stagnant. That's one of the reasons why student debt, why especially the Republicans didn't want to forgive it. Because how do you control the masses? You control the masses by their purses. Because when COVID happened, it was kind of like a switch. The companies lost money because they had to spend money, cleaning and doing all these COVID restrictions. So for the first time in a long time, money was taken out of their pockets. So that pissed them off. So once COVID ended, they're like, we got to get our money back. So the way that they get their money back is through inflation and artificially raising their prices using COVID as an excuse. So that's why companies now are posting record profits because they're like, we lost money for 2 years. We got to get that money back. The poor's got too much of our wealth, so we need to steal it back. So that's what inflation is. Because it's strange because for a capitalistic economy to grow, you need people to spend. But they only need to spend so much. We don't want them spending too much because if you spend too much, then prices go up and it causes inflation. So in order for everything to work, for the system to work, you got to have your riches and you got to have your poors because the riches control everything and the poors keep the machine turning because they think someday they can become rich. And it's a lie they tell you because one of the ways that the rich people keep the poor poor is one of the assets that you have that's worth a lot of money as a poor is a house, if you're lucky. But they get you because what they do is they raise your property taxes, they raise your insurance. They're going to figure a way to steal that money back from you. And that brings me to insurance. I think in this country, but it'll never happen, that insurance shouldn't be a for-profit company. Because I want everybody to think about this. Think about insurance. You buy insurance. I heard a comedian say, it's not really insurance, it's in case shit. And that's 100% true. But the problem is when you have insurance companies that are for profit, that's why you can have insurance, but then they deny you. You know, you have medical insurance, but they deny you coverage. Uh, you have car insurance, but if you make a claim, they drop you that quick. You can have house insurance, and if they don't like the situation, you know, you live in an area that they just don't like, they can drop you. So insurance should not be for profit, but that'll never happen. And like I read an article this morning that was talking about companies are really scared. With student loans kicking in, they're really scared about the end of the year profits. And when I read the article, it just made me sick because the article was telling people if you got to pay student loans, they want you to get more poor. The article said, you know, if you got to pay student loans, you need to either, downgrade where you're living or move back with your parents because we need you to keep spending because we got to make our end of the year profits. You know, Christmas time, Thanksgiving, that's our time to make money. So you better not quit spending. And I know Americans will never quit spending because we're so stupid. It's just like, the Apple 15 came out, and the same people that say they can't afford rent or they can't afford groceries, they run out and stand in line for the iPhone. You know, people keep buying cars. It's like we do it to ourselves. We shoot ourselves in the foot. We keep spending money and spending money. Like if people would quit buying these expensive cars and spending all this money that they don't have, that they're actually putting on credit, prices would come down, but nobody's going to do that. And one of the things that they like to do, and that's why it's funny that this trans thing became such a big deal, because when they're stealing our money, when companies are making huge profits and inflation is through the roof, they're going to notice that we're doing this. So what are we going to do? Hey, culture wars. So then they throw the trans thing out there and we're all fighting amongst ourselves and we're not paying attention as they're picking our pocket. But that's what inflation really is. It's just a ploy to steal more of your money and keep the status quo. Because if you get rich, then they're not going to have any worker bees. So they got to keep you two things. They got to keep you hopeful and they got to keep you working. And they got to keep you spending, but spending on what they want you to spend on. So you just need to realize that, like George Carlin said, the game's rigged. It's a secret club and you're not part of it. Like, the smartest thing that you could do is don't vote, don't join the military, keep your spending within limits, like only buy what you can afford. Like me, I have two paid off cars. One's a 2018, one's a 2022. But they're not, $80,000 cars. They're reasonable priced cars that as soon as I bought them, paid them off within a year to 2 years. My house is a reasonable priced house. I saved up for 3 years, put over 20% down, and my payment is only $597 a month. I didn't go out and buy a mansion. When I first, went to the bank to, see what I qualify, I qualified for about $100,000 more than I actually spent. Now, most people, when they get qualified, they go out and buy exactly up to the limit. Me, I got qualified for $100,000 more, and then I found this house. I liked it. I thought it'd be a good buy. I knew that it would financially fit my budget, and I bought it, even though I could have bought more. I've always been that way. I have a savings account. I always keep my emergency fund. I have 36. I think with this paycheck it'll be 37,000 that I keep in my account. The phone that I'm using to make this video is a Galaxy S7 that I've had for 6 years. I have 2 pair of shoes. I am married. I do spend money on my family, but you know, me and my wife are both we consider ourselves minimalists, and we're raising our daughter. Even though she's 11, so she does get a little spoiled. She's the only child, but you know, but when student loans kick back in, we're going to see a lot of pain in the economy, and that's what they want. Because they want to keep you down. They want to keep you down because they have to keep the status quo. You know, if you were smart, you would not buy into the keeping up with the Joneses. But you're going to, I know you are. You're going to take out credit card debt. You're going to spend a lot of money for Christmas. You know, I make these videos. I don't ever get a lot of views. I see people, I read articles. It doesn't really affect me, but I feel sorry for people in a lot of ways. But I just know that Americans are dumb. So I know it's going to be a lot of pain. And I see how the system's rigged, but I always say one of the biggest flaws in the evolution of the human brain was the development of hope. Because hope makes you dumb. Because you can be facing and you can have facts pointing at your face showing you that everything's shit and you need to get away quick, but then hope will creep up and you'll be like, well, maybe it'll get better. Maybe that person, you know, loves me. Maybe that person is not trying to screw me over. You know, maybe this will happen. When everything is pointing to you that, no, this is a bad, bad thing. Hope. Hope destroys a lot of lives. This is David. As always, make sure to like and subscribe.